Koine, and welcome to Parsing John. We are finally starting a new section in John chapter 1. Today we're just going to do verse 29, but we have the overall range for our next set of videos, 29 through verse 34. Here we've got our rubric, everything that we're looking for as we go through this passage. Let's go ahead and get started. Te apaurion blepei ton Iesun erkomenon pros auton kai legei ide ho amnos tu theu ho iron ten hamartian tu kos. That's as far as we're going to go today. Let's go ahead and get started with our translation. Okay, we want to find our verb. Obviously not a verb. This is actually an adverb. Blepe is where we get our verb. Epsilon iota is our personal ending, and blep is our stem. Blep tells us that this is a present tense verb. It tells us that it is third person singular and active indicative. And this means he or she technically sees. But we know that from the context of the previous passage that it's most likely going to be John the Baptist. What does he see? Why, he sees the direct object. And here we have ton, Iesun. Ton is from ho, he, to, our article, and it is accusative singular masculine. Goes with Iesun. Erkomenon also has that same ending, so we could lump that together as well. There we go. Accusative singular masculine. And this is a participle. Erk is our stem. We don't have anything else on here to tell us specifically that it's a tense other than the present. We know that this is a deponent verb, so accusative singular masculine present deponent participle, because it comes from erkomai, and omai tells us that it's a deponent verb in the present tense. This means coming. Ton Yesu be Jesus. We have an article here because I believe, as I probably said in one of the more recent videos, that when you have an article with a name, sometimes it is intended to show a specific one, especially when the name is very common, like John and Jesus both probably were at that time. If you look at the records we get from the ossuaries, the bone boxes, I believe a significant number of the men at around the time that this text talks about were named Jesus, John, and I can never remember what the third one is. But anyway, let's get back. So I'm going to stop before going into this prepositional phrase and instead come back to our adverb and mysterious article here. Apaurion, this one just means the next day, or next day. Tei here doesn't have any noun that we can see for it to be pointing towards. So instead, since we've got it in dative here with an adverb of time, we know that te is referring to our adverb. And since it's dative, we know that this is an ablative of, not an ablative, that's Latin, a dative of time when. And the word for day is feminine, so of course we would have the feminine article. On the next day, he sees the particular Jesus coming. Pros auton kai. Kai is a conjunction, so that tells us that the prepositional phrase ends here. Pros is clearly taking accusative. Singular and masculine because John is masculine, and neuter would be auto, to him. And got our same ending here in lego as blepo over here, so we know it is also third person singular present active and indicative. He says, since we don't have a definite word telling us that we've got a new subject, we should assume the same subject that was the subject here, so it should be John again. And since we have he says, we know we are entering direct discourse, especially as we take a look through here. And there's not a normal verb, except for ide. And ide isn't technically a regular verb. This is a imperative second person singular in form. But it's not used that way. This is roughly equivalent to the Latin ecce, so you can use it with more than one person around. It has a basic meaning of here is or here are. Since we've got ho, and ho is singular, we know that it's going to be is, not are. We could also technically just translate it look or behold. This thing is a particle. Forgot how to spell it there for a moment. Or a interjection. As a particle, we wouldn't translate it. As an interjection, we definitely are going to want to translate it. So here, since we have no other verb present, interjection is what we have to treat it as. Ho amnos is nominative, singular, masculine. 2 tells us that it's not part of it, and this means the lamb. To theou, we've got genitive singular, masculine, because the noun we know is masculine. Of the god. Ho airon, we've got another nominative singular here. And airon is a participle. If you can remember, it is from the verb airo, aro, era. Yeah, that's what it is. Can't remember where the accent would be. Normally, I think it would switch over here if it were a contract. I think it might just stay put. Era. So nominative, singular. So we got own there is the active nominative singular masculine ending for participles. Present, active, participle. I'm going to insert the word one in here. So we've got a participle, we can normally do that. And this means lifting up or removing. And then this will take a direct object, since it's a transitive verb. We've got tein hamartion here. Alpha nu and eta nu tell us that this is accusative, singular, feminine. The sin. Tu cosmu, omicron upsilon, and both of these tell us that we have a genitive, singular, and it's cosmos, cosmu, so masculine, of the world. Period. There we go. That is all of our text here. Let's go ahead and read our English. On the next day, he sees the Jesus coming to him, and he says, "Here is the Lamb of the God, the one removing or lifting up the sin of the world." Now, if you recall, one of the standards that we try to do with this text is we take a look and see if there are any nouns here without articles to make them particular, and we treat them as both a noun with an indefinite article in English and just a noun by itself. And as we take a look through this, yeson has tone with it, so that one doesn't count. Amnos has ho with it. Theou has tu with it. And cosmu has tu with it. So we don't have any candidates here, but we'll need to remember to keep that in mind, these things in mind, as we go further through our text. I think the last 4 or 5 verses, I've completely forgotten to do that. I'm sorry. I'll try to keep a sharper eye out for that later. There's our text. I hope taking a look at it has been helpful for you, and thank you for joining me. Have a good day.